Hey, welcome back. Today we will tell you about the scandals involving female law enforcement officers engaging in inappropriate relationships with teenage boys. This has shocked communities across the United States. These cases highlight the abuse of power and the devastating consequences that arise when individuals in positions of authority betray the trust placed in them. In June 2019, Shauna Bishop, formerly the sheriff of Sacramento County in California, was sentenced for her involvement in an incident with another teenage boy. She turned herself over after the boy's parents reported him to the police in their hometown of Fulford, California. Authorities launched a thorough investigation and issued resolute warrants following her arrest last May. The bishop's actions were not related to her work as deputy, but rather to what had occurred when she left that job due to being sued by someone. In the case of Shauna Bishop, a former Sacramento County Sheriff's deputy, her once promising career in law enforcement came to an abrupt end. Bishop's sentencing for her crimes sent shockwaves through the community, leaving many questioning how someone in a position of authority could betray the trust placed in them. The consequences she faced were severe, reflecting the gravity of her actions. She faced multiple charges related to her unlawful relationship with the teenager. She was charged with 5 counts: 1 count of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor, 1 count of child molestation, and 3 counts of oral copulation with a minor. However, in July 2019, she pleaded guilty to 1 count of unlawful sexual intercourse. The other 4 charges she was facing were dismissed. This shocking revelation left the community in disbelief and raised questions about the integrity of those in positions of power. The consequences of Shauna Bishop's actions came crashing down on her as she faced the sentencing for her crimes on a fateful day. She was sentenced to 1 year in county jail. A period of that would serve as a reminder of the gravity of her actions. Additionally, she was placed on 5 years of probation and required to register as a sex offender, a label that would follow her for the rest of her life. The impact of this designation on her personal and professional life cannot be overstated. Bishop was ordered to serve 180 days on work projects once she completed her jail sentence. The court also imposed several restrictions on Bishop's future conduct. She was prohibited from having any contact with the teenage boy or his family. Additionally, she was forbidden from consuming alcohol or using pornography for the next 5 years. The court made it clear that any violation of these orders would result in 3 years of imprisonment. The scandals involving female law enforcement officers engaging in inappropriate relationships with teenage boys have exposed a dark underbelly within the justice system. These cases highlight the abuse of power and the devastating consequences that arise when individuals in positions of authority betray the trust placed in them. The case of Delia Ruiz, a former police officer with the Friona Police Department, highlights the disturbing reality of deceit and manipulation involving 2 teenage boys. Ruiz, using her position of authority, targeted and groomed these unsuspecting boys through explicit messages, slowly manipulating them into a dangerous and illicit relationship. The first victim, a 16-year-old boy, was targeted in November 2020. What began as innocent conversations quickly escalated into something much more sinister. Ruiz's actions were calculated and manipulative, exploiting the vulnerabilities and insecurities of the teenage boys. She used her knowledge of their struggles to gain their trust and showered them with attention and affection. Through a series of explicit and sexual messages, she escalated the grooming process, enticing them further into her web of manipulation. The boys, naive and impressionable, fell victim to Ruiz's charms without realizing the dangerous path they were being led down. Ruiz didn't stop with just 1 victim. She set her sights on a second teenage boy, whom she met through her first victim using social media platforms, preying on his desire for attention and validation. In conclusion, the case of Delia Ruiz exposes the disturbing truth of deceit and manipulation involving 2 teenage boys. Ruiz, a former police officer, abused her position of authority to exploit vulnerable teenagers for her gratification. An investigation was launched in October 2021. Ruiz was arrested and subsequently fired from the police force. Her actions shattered the trust in the department and left the community grappling with the betrayal of someone they once relied on for protection. The case of Imari Waller, a former Arizona Department of Juvenile Corrections officer, has shocked the community and brought to light the consequences of illicit relationships. Waller now faces possible charges of unlawful sexual conduct after her inappropriate relationship with an 18-year-old former inmate was uncovered. The investigation started when a diligent youth corrections officer discovered explicit messages between Waller and the former inmate, indicating a relationship. The investigation into Imari Waller's illicit relationship with an 18-year-old former inmate unfolded with shocking revelations. The discovery of explicit messages sent shockwaves through the Arizona Department of Juvenile Corrections, as it was a clear violation of the law. Under Arizona statutes, it is illegal for anyone employed by the department to engage in any sexual act with an offender under their supervision. The evidence against Waller continued to mount as a special investigator interviewed the former inmate, who confessed to engaging in sexual intercourse with Waller. In a parole search of the man's room, explicit material of nude photos and videos of Waller was found on his cell phone, further solidifying the nature of their relationship. In conclusion, the case of Imari Waller highlights the dire consequences of engaging in illicit relationships, particularly when one holds a position of authority and responsibility. The swift action taken by the authorities in investigating and prosecuting Waller demonstrates their commitment to upholding justice and ensuring the safety of the community. The case of Imari Waller, a former corrections officer, has brought to light a web of deceit, betrayal, and abuse of power within the justice system. Waller's actions, which included engaging in a forbidden relationship with a former inmate and committing various illegal acts, have severe consequences, both professionally and legally. As the legal system holds her accountable, Waller's once promising career has come. Apart from the ethical implications, Waller's actions have also resulted in serious legal charges. The arrest and subsequent charges marked a turning point in her, as her once promising career as a corrections officer came crashing down. The charges against her include unlawful sexual conduct with a person in custody, conveying contraband in a juvenile facility, and tampering with physical evidence. Each of these charges carries its own set of penalties and potential prison time. Unlawful sexual conduct with a person in custody is a serious offense that could potentially lead to significant prison time. The exact length of the sentence would depend on various factors, including the specific circumstances of the case and any aggravating factors. The case of Imari Waller highlights the devastating consequences of crossing the line and engaging in a forbidden relationship within the justice system. Her actions have not only tarnished her reputation, but have also led to severe legal charges that may result in prison time and potential registration as a sex offender. Meetings, covert conversations, and risky exchanges that unfolded within the confines of the prison walls for 5 months from late 2019 until April of the following year showcased a forbidden romance between a corrective services officer, Melissa Goodwin, and an inmate, Corey London. Despite their roles within the prison system, Goodwin and London managed to keep their relationship hidden through a series of covert methods. Their forbidden romance was fueled by their determination to keep their connection alive, despite the risks involved. Goodwin and London devised various covert methods of communication to ensure their conversations remained undetected. Phone calls were facilitated through a third party, allowing them to maintain secrecy. They also took advantage of the prison intercom system, engaging in secret exchanges that only they could decipher. But perhaps the most audacious method they employed was using London's mother as an intermediary. Goodwin's name was saved in her phone as Corey GF, allowing them to pass messages discreetly. These covert methods highlighted the depth of their feelings and the lengths they were willing to go to be together. Their secret romance, although thrilling, was not destined to remain hidden forever. The walls of their clandestine world began to crumble, exposing the illicit affair and leading to severe consequences. Goodwin was charged with engaging in a relationship with an inmate, a serious breach of professional conduct. After being charged with engaging in a relationship with an inmate, Goodwin found herself navigating the complex world of the justice system as the case unfolded. Goodwin stood before the court, her once blonde locks now dyed brown, a visual representation of the transformation her life had undergone. The weight of her actions was evident as she looked up at the sky, tears streaming down her face, awaiting her fate, having pleaded guilty to the charge. Goodwin awaited her sentencing with bated breath. The court considered the gravity of her offense, the breach of trust, and the potential harm caused by her actions. The judge, in delivering the sentence, acknowledged the dangers inherent in such relationships within the prison system. Despite the possibility of facing jail time, Goodwin received a sentence that allowed her to serve in the community in a nutshell in 2021. She managed to escape incarceration by confessing to a charge related to her involvement with the inmate. As a part of her punishment, she received a 12-month community corrections order and was obligated to fulfill 100 hours of community service. This outcome was met with mixed reactions, as some questioned the leniency of the sentence, while others believed it was a fair resolution. Next, I'll go down to England for the shocking case of Jordan Traynor, a prison officer who engaged in inappropriate relationships with teenage male inmates at the Wetherby Young Offender Institution. A facility designed for rehabilitation and discipline became the backdrop for a scandalous incident that eroded the trust placed in authority figures. Jordan Traynor, a 25-year-old female prison officer, was involved in inappropriate relationships with teenage male inmates, blurring the boundaries between her role as a guardian and their vulnerable status as prisoners. The series of events unfolded in autumn 2019, when Traynor discovered that one of the inmates possessed a contraband mobile phone. Seizing the opportunity, she engaged in a flirtatious relationship with the young offender, leading to the exchange of explicit messages. Providing further details, the gravity of Traynor's actions cannot be downplayed. In her role as a prison officer, she wielded power and authority over vulnerable young inmates who needed guidance. By participating in inappropriate relationships with them, Traynor not only breached the trust bestowed upon her as a guardian, but also took advantage of the vulnerability of these inmates. Such a breach of trust is a serious offense that demands appropriate punishment to convey a resounding message that such behavior will not be tolerated. The Traynor's actions extended beyond emotional involvement. Exploiting her position, she utilized it to smuggle contraband into the institution, introducing potentially prohibited items. The power dynamics at play in the case of George Traynor, a prison officer who exploited her authority to satisfy her desires, were deeply disturbing. Through explicit messages, photographs, and physical contact, Traynor engaged in improper relationships with young offenders under her supervision. This betrayal of the responsibilities entrusted to her as a prison officer is a shocking violation of the duty of care she had towards these vulnerable individuals. During the searches conducted in the cells of the young offenders, evidence of Traynor's misconduct began to surface. Both inmates were found to have the prison officer's mobile number, and one of them had retained explicit photographs. The second inmate was found to possess 3 mobile phones, which were examined. These findings led to Traynor's suspension from her position as a prison officer. The consequences of Traynor's actions continued to unfold during the court proceedings. Mr. Jonathan Sharp, the prosecutor, revealed that rumors of Traynor's misconduct were prevalent at the Young Offenders Institution. This suggests that there may have been knowledge or suspicions among staff and inmates regarding her inappropriate behavior. Such a breach of trust and abuse, George Traynor's misconduct as a prison officer, highlights the deeply disturbing power dynamics at play within the correctional system. Her exploitation of authority to satisfy her desires through explicit messages, photographs, and physical contact is a shocking betrayal of the responsibilities entrusted to her. The consequences of her actions have been far-reaching, leading to her suspension and subsequent criminal charges. The case of the Traynor's misconduct and subsequent sentencing to 18 months in jail serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of abusing one's position of authority. The judge's decision to hand down a custodial sentence sends a strong message to others in positions of power that the justice system will not tolerate the exploitation of vulnerable individuals and the betrayal of trust placed in those tasked with their care. Next, the actions of Toryland Messer, a law enforcement agent, have sparked a thorough investigation into her alleged misconduct. Law enforcement agencies recognized the gravity of the situation and took the allegations seriously, understanding the need for justice to be served. The investigation aimed to uncover the truth and hold Messer accountable for her actions. During the investigation, Messer reportedly confessed to the relationship and provided shocking details of her encounters with the teenager. Her admission of guilt was a significant breakthrough in the case, providing the evidence needed to move forward with charges against her. This confession served as a moment of validation for the victim and their family, who had been devastated by the betrayal of trust. As a result of her actions, Messer has been charged with violating the civil rights of a person in custody. This charge demonstrates the severity of her actions and the violation of the teenager's rights, as they were under her care. If found guilty, Messer could face serious legal consequences, including imprisonment and a permanent criminal record. The repercussions of Messer's actions extend beyond the legal realm. She has already faced professional consequences, having been fired from her job as a law enforcement agent. This serves as a clear indication that her actions were not only morally wrong, but also unacceptable within the confines of her profession. The thorough investigation into Messer's actions has shed light on a disturbing breach of trust and abuse of power. The scandal surrounding Tori Landmesser, a prison guard who engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a teenager, has had a profound impact on the community. When news of the scandal broke, the community was left in disbelief. Many were shocked and appalled that someone in a position of authority could engage in such reprehensible behavior. The betrayal of trust was felt deeply, and the community's reaction has been mixed. While some are outraged by the betrayal of trust and demand justice for the victim, others are shocked and saddened by the actions of someone in a position of authority. They question how such behavior could go unnoticed for so long. The termination of Tori Landmesser as a prison guard serves as a clear message that her actions were not only morally wrong but also violated the code of conduct expected from those in her position. It is a small step towards justice for the victim, and a reminder that those who abuse their authority will face the consequences. This case serves as a chilling example of the abuse of power and the devastating impact it can have on the lives of those involved. In conclusion, the scandals surrounding Tori Landmesser and all other cases mentioned above, and their inappropriate relationship with a teenager, have had a profound impact on the community. The betrayal of trust and abuse of authority has left many shocked and appalled. It serves as a reminder that no one is above the law, regardless of their profession or position.
Come on, motherfucker.
Okay,
You think I can't do it? I know.
don't
I
wanna
got a
do
black
this.
belt in karate, got a black belt in judo.
In an unexpected and daring turn of events, a man decides to challenge a police officer to a karate fight. Little does he know, this impulsive decision will lead to a swift and regrettable lesson. Join us as we delve into the details of this unique encounter, exploring the dynamics between law enforcement and a bold individual attempting an unconventional showdown. On the morning of May 9, 2023, Officer Christopher Rains from the Port Orange Police Department was unaware that he would soon find himself entangled in a life-threatening confrontation with a skilled martial artist. The upcoming sequence of events is among the most extraordinary we have ever encountered. A significant portion of the forthcoming footage has never been unveiled before. As what started as a routine morning transitioned into the afternoon, Officer Rains became involved in an unusual situation. Port Orange Dispatch received a call reporting a disturbed individual loitering at the Puffing Stuff Smoke Shop, located at 4020 Nova Road in Port Orange, Florida.
So I have this gentleman that has been coming in and out of my shop, making me very uncomfortable and making other people uncomfortable. And he is not leaving the plaza, and I kind of want to get him removed away from the plaza because I'm here by myself and I don't feel comfortable.
Upon arriving at the scene, Officer Rains is prepared to enter the store. Nevertheless, a man attempts to gain his attention.
Sir, I have a question.
I'll be with you in a second.
To which the officer responds by stating, "I have a question. I'll be with you in a second," while momentarily brushing him aside. Throughout the unfolding situation, Officer Rains learns more about the distinctly peculiar behavior of the individual.
I called about him causing a disturbance, and he's come in here quite a few times already, and has bothered me and customers, and makes me very uncomfortable. And he likes to grab things and try and come behind the counter. So, kind of want him trespassed. Like, he just keeps coming in and out, and he likes to touch things, and I've rung him up a couple times, and he's only bought drinks from me. But he's had me ring him up for like almost $1,000 worth of product.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it's the guy out there. He's like a taller, kind of older white guy. Is that him?
Yeah. And
Okay.
he's like talking to himself and talking to other people, and they're coming in here and they're uncomfortable as well.
The officer has encountered challenges in verifying whether Mr. Boozy possesses an accountant or faces a pending lawsuit. Following this peculiar introduction, the officer refocuses on the current situation. It's at this point that the encounter transforms from being merely bizarre to utterly surreal.
Yeah, officer. I hate to ask this, and it's not your fault. I was arrested about 8 months ago.
Okay, back up for me a little bit,
Oh, okay.
please.
I was arrested 8 months ago, and I spent 18 months in prison.
In a stroke of luck, Officer Rains manages to avoid injury from the projectile hurled his way. Undeterred, the defiant individual challenges the officer, practically daring him to make the arrest. With measured resolve, Officer Rains issues clear instructions, signaling the gravity of the situation. He directs the individual to place their hands behind their back, specifying the charges for battery on a law enforcement officer in response to the thrown object. Maintaining a calm yet authoritative demeanor, Officer Rains repeats the command for compliance. Frustration and discontent radiate from the individual as they resist the arrest, vehemently protesting and threatening legal action. Amidst the tension, Officer Rains upholds his duty with immense bravery, demonstrating a commitment to maintaining order, despite the individual's belligerent behavior. The encounter unfolds with palpable intensity, showcasing the challenges faced by law enforcement officers in their line of duty.
Right now, you're under arrest for battery on a law enforcement officer for throwing something at me.
Oh, he's the one.
Yeah, well, don't do it. Why would you throw something at me?
Because you pissed me off. That's
Well,
why.
there you go.
You're acting like a jerk.
5 Central. Someone's running code 3 to me. I don't need that.
You're lucky I didn't have my pocket knife with me. I'd stab your. You'd be dead right now. You can write it all in the police report. I don't give a. The last thing I wanted to do is.
The energized encounter continues as other officers arrive on the scene.
Are you a nice cop? Are you the nice cop? Is it nice cop, bad cop time? I've been through it a million times. I know the routine.
Stand up straight.
All right, hold on. Jesus, quit jerking me around. I will go. You know, I'm
still, spread your feet.
I'm
Stand up
almost
straight.
I'm almost 70 years old, for Christ's sake, and I got arthritis. No, I know you got to arrest me, but Jesus Christ, can you take it a little bit easy?
You just listen. It's on our time, not your time.
I know that. I've been arrested like 7 or 8 times.
Then you should know better than not throw stuff at a police officer.
I know.
Dumb.
All right. Ow. What's in my arm? And
Have a seat in the car.
all right. All right. I
shoes
better
off.
leave. I'm fucking
Sit
take.
down, kick your
Well,
shoes
all
off.
right.
Kick your shoes off.
All right. Give me a minute.
Kick your shoes off.
Jesus Christ, man, you're a.
Keep your feet out.
Okay. You want me to take my pants off too?
No, if I wanted to, I'd tell you.
All right.
Keep your feet out.
Okay.
Keep your feet out. How hard is
Okay.
that?
Jesus, mother.
Get your feet out.
Christ. I'd be glad to go to jail. Get me to jail as fast as you can.
What's that?
After the suspect is secured in the cruiser, Officer Rains diligently begins typing his incident report. Meanwhile, the other officer, identified as Officer ERS, proceeds to gather Mr. Boozy's belongings. A touch of humor surfaces as the officers discover a pocket knife among Mr. Boozy's possessions, leading to a light-hearted remark about discarding the perishables, including a sandwich. As the scene unfolds, one officer disposes of the items, while the other engages in conversation with Mr. Boozy, gaining additional insight into his state of mind. Amidst the challenges, Mr. Boozy shares his seemingly unrelated success story of starting a new business, injecting an unexpected narrative twist into the encounter. Officer Rains, still at the squad car, receives an unusual offer from Mr. Boozy, who, despite the circumstances, promises a box of goodies post-jail, including marijuana cookies and baked treats. The exchange continues with discussions about personal belongings, a missing bicycle, and the impending legal actions threatened by Mr. Boozy. The situation takes on a surreal quality as Mr. Boozy asserts his intention to sue the police department, adding a touch of eccentricity to the overall encounter.
Hey, was that backpack and those groceries, were those all yours over there on the bench?
Yes, if you could, can you pick it up for me, please, and put it in the backpack?
What? The groceries?
Yes.
No, they're going in the garbage.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
And you're going to take the bicycle to police property?
Where's the bicycle at?
Pardon?
What bicycle?
A blue bicycle. It's a blue Schwinn.
I don't see that anywhere.
It's a $200 bicycle. I just bought it.
Where's it at?
It's right in front of the pizza shop.
No, there's no bike over there.
Well, somebody stole it already. I'll be suing you for that, too.
For us?
I'm suing. I already have a $5 million.
Head inside the car. Head inside the car.
Okay, I already have a $5 million lawsuit against your police department.
You do?
I'll make it $100 million.
Yeah, you should.
In front of the smoke shop, there indeed appears to be a blue bike. However, given Mr. Boozy's questionable credibility, the officer remains skeptical about whether the bicycle truly belongs to him. Officer Rains decides to take a moment to gather himself, expressing a brief exclamation to process the unusual situation. While ensuring the suspect's well-being before transporting him to jail, Mr. Boozy continues his nonsensical rambling, discussing extravagant demands and making exaggerated claims about his worth. Despite the absurdity of his statements, the officer maintains his composure. During the journey to jail, Mr. Boozy persistently rambles about his perceived worth, salary expectations, and extravagant demands. His monologue includes random figures, requests for private jet services, and other eccentric demands, showcasing the continued unpredictability of the encounter. Following his arrest, Mr. Boozy's erratic behavior continues during his time in jail. He engages in destructive actions, tearing clothing into shreds and creating makeshift accessories. Despite counseling and warnings, these incidents persist, adding to the peculiar nature of his stay in jail. After over 2 months in custody, William Boozy is released from the Volusia County Jail on July 20, 2023. However, his legal troubles persist, as he is arrested again on September 22, 2023, for battery on a law enforcement officer. Due to his history of violent tendencies, he is denied bail. The conclusion of this chapter in the saga leaves lingering questions about the factors contributing to Mr. Boozy's behavior and the potential challenges law enforcement faces in dealing with individuals with such unpredictable tendencies. It underscores the complexities and uncertainties that officers like Rains may encounter in the line of duty, navigating situations that extend beyond the boundaries of conventional law enforcement encounters. In the realm of law enforcement, the actions of police officers can often be scrutinized, and instances that lead to significant consequences draw attention. In this particular case, a female police officer finds herself at the center of controversy, ultimately resulting in her termination. The circumstances surrounding her dismissal unfold with a series of events that prompt questions about professional conduct, ethical boundaries, and the responsibilities entrusted to those in uniform. Join us as we delve into the details of why this female cop faced termination after a specific incident, examining the repercussions and implications of her actions. On May 9, 2023, Ryan Gold, a resident of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, was swimming laps in his apartment complex's pool when Anna Ivanova, another resident, approached him. She requested that he swim in the opposite direction, but Mr. Gold declined to change his course. After a collision between Mr. Gold and Miss Ivanova in the pool, a verbal altercation ensued. In response, Miss Ivanova contacted her husband, Benedetto Salvia, who arrived at the pool. The verbal dispute continued, and Mr. Salvia escalated the situation by revealing a firearm tucked into the front of his pants. Concerned, Mr. Gold called 911 to report the incident and awaited the arrival of officers in the parking lot. Officer Bethany Guerrero from the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department responded and approached Mr. Gold, accompanied by another officer.
man. How you doing? Keep your hands out your pockets for me.
I'm not the one who's done.
Sir, I don't keep your hands out of your pockets. Put the phone
I
down.
haven't done a crime. Don't talk to me like that.
Listen to me. I don't know you.
Listen,
you can put that
I don't
down.
know you. You're the one with the gun. Why
Get down on the ground now. Get down on the ground. Get down on the ground.
What the?
I told you not
That's
to reach for anything.
I haven't committed a crime. You don't have any.
Hands out to your
I
side
haven't
now.
committed a crime.
Now you put your hands behind your back.
You can't detain me for what?
Yes, I can.
For what?
I don't know you.
I don't know you. You're the ones with guns.
Funny.
Yeah, you're arresting me for nothing.
I'm detaining you right
That's
now.
fine. You're detaining me for what crime?
Because you don't want to listen.
That's not a crime. Are your body cams on?
Yes, they sure
Good.
are.
Good. I called you guys for help because this guy's brandishing a gun at me.
Officer Guerrero approached Mr. Gold, instructing him to keep his hands out of his pockets. Despite Mr. Gold informing her that he was not armed and reaching into his pocket to retrieve his cell phone, Officer Guerrero ordered him again to keep his hands visible. When Mr. Gold verbally protested, Officer Guerrero escalated the situation by pointing her firearm at him, commanding him to get on the ground, and subsequently handcuffing him. This occurred despite Mr. Gold not making any threatening moves, and surveillance footage confirmed he was moving away from Officer Guerrero, with his hands clearly visible at his sides. Legal contexts distinguish between consensual encounters, temporary investigative detentions, or Terry stops, and formal arrests. While Mr. Gold's interaction with Officer Guerrero should have been consensual, given that he had sought police assistance as a potential victim, a court might consider Officer Guerrero's reasonable suspicion, albeit based on a factual mistake, justifying a Terry stop. However, even if this were the case, exceeding the constitutionally permissible scope of detention could render Officer Guerrero's actions unconstitutional. The law allows officers to take reasonable steps to ensure their safety during a Terry stop, but pointing a firearm and handcuffing a suspect may be deemed excessive without an objectively reasonable belief that the individual is potentially dangerous. Since Mr. Gold exhibited no threatening behavior at the time of Officer Guerrero's actions, he could argue that the encounter exceeded the constitutional limits without probable cause.
Sit down. I didn't say get up. I said sit down.
Who the f*** is this? Where's your supervisor?
I'm getting
Do you
one.
see how she's talking to me? I haven't done anything.
You don't
Why am
wanna
I in
listen.
handcuffs? I don't care. You're not my
being
mom.
silly because I'm
You're not my
coming here
dad.
for a gun.
That's fine. I don't have a gun. I haven't committed a crime.
And when I told you to keep your hands out of your pockets,
You're not
you did it.
I didn't commit a crime. You don't get to tell me what to do.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. Why are you yelling at me?
Because I have every
Who
right to
are
right
you?
now.
What's your badge number?
321 Guerrero, Guerri. Make sure you spell it right.
If you're this scared of a guy in a
I've been here
swimsuit,
for 20 years.
you're terrified of a guy in a swimsuit. I didn't do anything.
You can shut your mouth now.
They just detained me. I explained. There's no gun. That guy
I don't
has a gun.
detain anybody for no reason.
Then what reason?
Because I
What
told you
crime did I commit for you to detain
shut
me?
your mouth so I can explain it to you?
Are you in charge of this lady? Why am I in handcuffs on the ground? Are you a supervisor?
No, he's not.
Can someone explain why I'm handcuffed on
Can you
that?
shut your mouth
No.
so I can talk to you?
Look at you. You're furious. What did I do?
You did not listen.
You're not my boss.
Listen to
I
me.
don't need to listen to you.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. She doesn't get to detain me.
Yes,
pull
I
her
do.
gun. Pull her gun on me.
Because when
Put
you put
me on the
your
ground.
hands in your pocket and
I
I'm
didn't
getting a
commit a
phone call
crime.
of a
I don't
gun,
care.
you
You're
don't
that
wanna
terrified?
listen.
You shouldn't be a cop if you're that terrified.
I've been here for 20 years, punk.
Yeah. Here. Go somewhere real. You're terrified. Palm Beach
know what?
Garden.
Do
Are
me
you
a
a
favor.
supervisor? Can you ask this lady why I'm in handcuffs? Tell her what crime
I keep
I've
trying
committed.
to tell you,
Go
and
ahead.
you want
What
to keep
crime?
talking over me.
What crime?
I get called here because
Crime.
someone is.
What suspicion?
You don't need to be in crime.
Yes, I do. To detain me, you need suspicion of a crime.
No, you do not.
Yes, you do. You don't know the law? Please explain it to them. You cannot just go around detaining random people.
Can you calm down for a second?
I'm in handcuffs.
calm down? Obviously, we're not
Can I
getting
stand
anywhere.
up? I'll calm down if I can stand up. What did
I'm
I
in
do?
charge, not you.
No, you're not.
And you blue nail polish, cute.
Okay.
No,
I'm not gonna do it.
Down.
What did I
Stay the
do?
down, all right?
What?
Right now, all I need you for to do is keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not gonna do it. Arrest me.
You are under
Yeah,
arrest.
I want you. Okay, arrest me.
You're
Go ahead,
under
take me to
arrest for
jail.
resisting. I am
Go
gonna
ahead,
take
take
you
me to jail. Take me to jail right now. Take me to jail.
Oh, I will.
Do it. I'm ready.
going to.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
What's your name, dude?
Excuse me.
What's your name? What's your
Allow
name?
me to stand up and...
What's your name?
No.
Negative. Doesn't work that way.
Okay. Tell me what crime I'm here for.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. You're under arrest.
For what crime?
You have to give your name. You're already on arrest.
That's fine. What crime, though?
Don't worry. She already told you.
She's already got...
Resisting arrest is a secondary charge. That's a secondary charge.
It's not a secondary.
Then take me to jail.
You are going to jail. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Let's go.
The officers notify Mr. Gold that he is facing arrest for resisting prompting. Mr. Gold to argue that resisting arrest is considered a secondary charge. To comprehend the legal intricacies, it's essential to distinguish between state statutes criminalizing resisting arrest and those prohibiting resisting an officer. Some states only forbid resisting the specific act of arrest, treating it as a secondary charge to the underlying offense. Conversely, states like Florida define resisting as a standalone charge, encompassing any resistance to an officer's duties. In Florida, under Section 843.02 of the statutes, resisting an officer in the lawful execution of their duties is a misdemeanor of the first degree. Courts have ruled that individuals may be convicted of resisting for refusing to comply with a lawful order. For instance, the 2022 case of Senko versus Jackson acknowledged that the statute authorizes arrest for obstructing an officer, including refusal to obey lawful commands. However, the 2010 case of Stamus versus Brown determined that an officer lacked probable cause to arrest someone who initially resisted orders but complied upon subsequent commands. Analyzing Mr. Gold's situation, although he initially didn't comply with Officer Guerro's order to keep his hands out of his pockets, he later reached into his pocket for his phone after clarifying that he wasn't the one with the gun. When Officer Guerro insisted on maintaining hands out of pockets compliance, Mr. Gold followed her order. A court is likely to conclude that Mr. Gold's actions in retrieving his phone did not constitute knowingly resisting, obstructing, or opposing Officer Guerro, especially given his efforts to address her concerns.
Supervisor,
That's fine. I'm ready to go to jail. Take me.
You're going to go. Trust me.
Is your body camera on, sir?
all our body cameras are on.
Perfect.
He came out here. Me and Strzelecki roll up. He's got his hands in his pocket, and I go, bro, take your hands out of your pocket, right? And then when he goes and pulls the phone out, and he goes to put it back. And I said, keep your hands out of your pocket. And I drew down on him.
Okay.
That guy.
Has anybody talked to...
Not yet, because Mike came running out. Joe went running out. I'm over here literally by myself with this f***ing guy.
All right. Are you okay to go talk to her?
Yes.
Insulting me, threatening me. So, I had to call my husband.
Do you wish to tell me what happened here today so I can have a better understanding?
Yeah, I mean, my wife called me. She called me and said that there was a guy harassing her at the pool.
Okay. Was it that guy over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I just ran over here. He's obviously a lot bigger than me. And I didn't, want to get involved. I was trying to pull my wife away. And she just got closer.
At what point did the gun become involved? Well, how did he know that you were armed?
I'm not sure.
You told that other officer that you put your hands up like this so that
my wife
the
said
gun is displayed.
I know it didn't come out of the holster or anything like that.
No, I didn't say it came out, but how was he able to know that you were armed? Because he called us and said that you were armed.
I mean, if I lift my shirt up, you could see it.
Okay.
But,
so did you want him to see that you were armed? Did you tell him you were armed?
I don't think so. No.
In contrast to the conflicting narratives provided by Mr. Salvia during his interaction with the officers, the surveillance footage from the pool unequivocally reveals his approach towards Mr. Gold. The footage clearly illustrates Mr. Salvia standing directly in front of Mr. Gold, lifting his shirt to display a concealed firearm in a manner that can be deemed rude, careless, angry, or threatening. Section 790.10 of the Florida statutes outlines that such actions, not in necessary self-defense, constitute a misdemeanor of the first degree. Despite the nearly undeniable evidence from the surveillance footage indicating that Mr. Salvia displayed his firearm in a threatening manner, the question of whether he acted in necessary self-defense arises. According to Section 776.012 of the Florida statutes, an individual is justified in using force when reasonably believing it is necessary to defend against imminent unlawful force. However, Mr. Gold, as depicted in the footage, engaged in a heated verbal exchange, but made no physically threatening actions, maintaining a safe distance from the cupola. It was Mr. Salvia who approached and displayed the firearm. During subsequent police questioning, Mr. Salvia's recollection became hazy, and he expressed discomfort in providing further details. Notably, when asked if he informed Mr. Gold about being armed, Mr. Salvia suggested that lifting his shirt might have served as a form of communication. This raises questions about the credibility of his claim of acting in necessary self-defense. The investigation led to the seizure of Mr. Salvia's firearm, bullets, magazine, and holster, pending further inquiry. Although both Mr. Salvia and Ms. Ivanova were initially released, charges were later filed against Mr. Salvia for improper exhibition of a dangerous weapon. The subsequent dismissal of the charge, following Mr. Salvia's participation in a pre-trial diversion program, gun safety, and anger management classes, raises concerns about the efficacy of the legal response to the incident. The internal affairs investigation led to Officer Guerro's termination due to policy violations. However, questions linger regarding the lack of discipline for other officers present during Mr. Gold's arrest, raising concerns about their failure to intervene in Officer Guerro's aggressive behavior. Mr. Gold, despite initial non-compliance with Officer Guerro's orders, exhibited a commitment to challenging her unlawful conduct by filing complaints and seeking public attention to address the misconduct. He has expressed a willingness to pursue legal action and has actively advocated for reforms within the Palm Beach Gardens PD. Mr. Gold's response to the incident is commended, with the acknowledgement that he may consider legal action to seek justice for the violations he endured.